we're going to sit here and I'm not going to say anything. I'm literally just going to let it play. And I'm not going to talk about anything that's happening in this track. Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing good. And for those of you who are new here, my name is Jacob Williams. I am a professional music producer and composer. And as you can see by the poll laying before you, this was a very close one. We got 148 votes. Carly Rae Jepsen was at about 44%, but Addison took the cake at 56. I saw the poll kind of going like this for a while, and then for a while Addison was in the complete lead, and then Carly kept, it literally went like this, people. It was literally like just narrowing, and we've been stuck right here. So with that being said, this is the winner of today's Friday upload. Upon looking at it, it looks like there is one song on it that I already have saved. I've already listened to, and I remember this song, Diet Pepsi. I used this as a reference track for a production job, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was used to kind of reference the instrumental and to make a beat that sounded similar to it. And from what I remember, we made something really cool. And before we dive into this 12 song experience, I wanted to give some love to our patrons. You can see them right here in this nice scrolly list right here. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of this channel and for giving me more power to give you guys better content. I have no idea what to expect. I remember Diet Pepsi having a really nice sort of electronic pop, synth pop sound, but a lot of glitchy sort of effects in it, if I remember correctly, and it was bass heavy too. It just had a very nice mood to it. So I have high expectations for this album based on what I remember Diet Pepsi sounding like. And again, when we get to that track, I will skim through it, and if I find anything exciting that I didn't catch before, I'll leave it in the edit. So thank you guys so much. Let's jump right in.
Goodbye to the Big Apple.
We're already off to a great start, you guys. I'm a sucker for really good vocal production, and right out the gate, we got these very slow to fast panning tremolo filters on this vocal, and it's running through a bit crush distortion too. That's what's giving it that nice sort of high crispy layer to it. The vocals themselves sound like an instrument. They're being layered in a way that they create the synth pad rather than the synth pad being underneath the main vocal line, and not to mention that very subtle but effective bass line below everything. Nice, very chilled out reverb vocals. Guys, we're only 36 seconds in, and there's so much happening here. So again, I'm going to just say it now. That little gap of silence in music, I've only heard a couple of artists use silence as a technique or as a device, and it's a really great way to kind of give your listeners some sort of anticipation or a reason to anticipate what's coming next. Sort of add like a bit of a choke in the musical bed, if you will. There's like some crazy like reverse delays, reverse reverbs.
Drop my bags at the Bowery Hotel. Next stop to the club, I'm a dance whore. Kick drum, chew gum, oh God, I love you, love me, you love me, you love me, you love me, feel so free, feel so free.
From a vocal standpoint, I'm liking the bypass of the effects right there before we get into the chorus. It's a nice way to sort of build anticipation before everything gets multi-layered again and chorused out. There's a very dry kick to it. It's not like super processed. It just sounds very like skeletal, boxy, punchy, if you will. Again, this sounds like it has elements of, like we've discussed on this channel, like the Charlie XCX sort of modern take on hyperpop. Kind of a Jersey Club thing. I like how simply written the top line of this is, but Addison wants the effects and wants the various things happening to her voice to sort of percolate throughout the instrumental, if you will, right? That seems to be, based on what I remember hearing in Diet Pepsi and also in this song, that seems to be a sort of mainstay of Addison's sound, is having the effects sort of glue the music with the vocals together and making them just one cohesive unit instead of having the vocals just sit on the instrumental. And it's a very hard thing to do as a producer and an engineer. It's a very hard thing to do, to sort of glue everything the standard way, let alone with all these effects and with all these modulations coming in and out creatively across this production bed. The way that rose was so cool, and it was different than the other little tagline before we went into the last chorus too. Those stutters. You guys probably, I don't know if you guys hear it, but there's like a percussion thing hitting between every hi-hat. It's like and it sounds very bit crushed as well, kind of like those vocals in the beginning. Ooh. More clap layers. That sounds like a synth art. That thing back there is really grabbing my attention out of everything here. I mean, the synths are amazing. The bass is amazing. The drums is amazing. I could talk all day about those. But that, to me, sounds like a vocal synth hybrid. Sounds like a vocal being resampled on a synth, and the ARP just being held by one key, right? It just sounds like it's just one key being held down on an ARP. So, and what an ARP or an arpeggiator does is it makes like a rapid motion or a rapid succession of notes happen. And that's definitely what's happening here. And it's going in like 16th notes, very fast, very rapid back there in the mix. And then there's filters being pulled on and away from it. That's at least what I'm hearing right now. It just sounds like a bunch of filters kind of peeling off of it as it's playing. And it's kind of being tucked into the mix and then brought out, and tucked into the mix and being brought out. What a way to set the tone of the album, and to sort of, at least for me from a production standpoint, to explain to me the sound set that I'm going to be expecting on this album, especially with what I know already about Diet Pepsi. I haven't heard any of the other singles from this, really just that one. That's the only one I've had to use for work. So based on what I know of these two songs, I know the entire album is probably going to be a roller coaster ride of production sounds and just experimental vocal arrangements from Addison. It's overall such a great vibe so far. Let's keep it going into track 2, Diet Pepsi. Oh yeah. My boy's a winner. As we watch this, as we listen to this, because I have heard this song already before, I will say listen very deeply to the production bed, like especially the drums and the way they bounce around the bass. There's this part in the chorus, from what I'm remembering, where things kind of get a little like shaky, and you'll see what I mean. Like the pan right there. I like the way he's telling me my ass looks good in these ripped blue jeans. Everything sort of gets big, gets huge, like the synths just kind of swell up and get multi-layered, and then they die down in energy towards the end, leading into those verses. And the verses just kind of have a static, like kind of synth pad just warbling back there in just a rapid motion, and sometimes it tucks down and the percussion go around it. So that's kind of the main thing I wanted you to hear, was sort of the way that all the sort of rhythmic instruments kind of accommodate for that pad to come in. And overall, it's a great song. I can see why it's so popular. It's simple, it's catchy, and Addison and her producers work very hard to sort of let the production sort of embellish the simplicity. Like, they sit on the simplicity of the song. They don't push the narrative too much. And I think sometimes a little bit of simplicity goes a long way with songs like this. Using things like whisper vocals or breath sounds, or just things that don't have a tonal value to them. Like, whenever you sing, even if you rap, it has a bit of a tonal value to whatever you're putting through the mic. Like, because our voices innately have tone to it. Whenever you whisper or whenever you make like breath sounds, that's just air. Like that has no tonal resonance at all. Like there's no note shaking. Even when you talk, there's a little bit of tonal harmonics there. When you whisper or breathe or do anything like that, make certain sound effects with your voice, it's literally just blasts of air. So what that does is it makes it really easy for an engineer or producer to tuck things into the beat and to sort of play with them rhythmically without them messing with the harmonies or messing with the thirds and the fifths of the chords you're using. That's why they work so well, and that's why they sound punchy and neat and different, is because not a lot of people really do that. And luckily, in the modern age with very high fidelity microphones, you can make very cool sort of out there vocal sounds to use in your arrangement like this.
I write my name with lipstick on your chest. I leave a mark so you know I'm the best. You call me baby, so sweet. All my innocence in the backseat. Say you love, say you love, say you love me. All my innocence in the backseat.
The bass line of this song in particular is very cool because it uses what's called a portamento effect. And what that is when you hold down a note and when you go to move it to another note, it'll make it slide. It kind of adds a bit of a sliding quality to it. So if you're listening to the song and you notice that the speakers in your car and your headphones are kind of going whoop very smoothly up, it's actually a setting on whatever synthesizer they're making that bass with to make it lightly glide up to the different notes that are desired for that little rhythmic melodic passage. Oh, ooh, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know I'm a sucker for a good vocal chop. I will forever love what EDM and EDM subgenres have done with pop music in particular, and borrowing from stuff like that just puts a big smile on my face. I like these ones in particular, though, because they have a lot of texture to them. They're very layered. They have a lot of almost grit to it, right? Like so far, the vocal arrangement for the song has been perfect pop sounding, even with a little bit of reverb soaking. It sounds like very lush, very calm pop. And right here, it's just very like gritty. It kind of has a bit of a gritty tone to it, like with a bit of distortion and on it. It's probably running through a vocoder if I had to guess. But they're definitely chops, at least, of a vocal line running through a vocoder. What really makes that melody work is melodies come in all sort of interval patterns, right? That's what makes them unique to every song. But what I heard in this one is a very simple melody that just kind of goes up the thirds. And that little simple interval, just going from the minor one to the 3 to the dominant and then down to the subdominant, is just so simple. You don't have any advanced, okay, we're going down an octave, okay, we're going to, like, sometimes simplicity is key. Let's have this track lead right into Money Is Everything, track 3. Oh, that's on me. I didn't know the song ended right there. Track 3, Money Is Everything.
When I was growing up, Mama always told me to save my money, so I never had to rely on a man to take. But money's not coming with me to heaven, and I have a lot of it. So can a girl just have fun? Can a girl have fun? Can a girl have fun? Can a girl have fun?
So, two things are really getting me excited for what's coming next. We have this very simple, uplifting bass line going up the thirds, really. You know, it's just going up like sort of the main notes of the chord progression. But sometimes that's all you really need. Like, it's just going up like kind of the main roots. And those little choppy vocals in the bed, let's keep it going. I want to see how this rises here. Wait a minute. I just realized how short this song is. It's barely over 2 minutes. And then not the next song, but the song after that is 48 seconds. So we do have a couple of like little interlude things happening on this album. All right, we get a verse. So with the vocal layers specifically, and again, we focus a lot on production here. So for those of you that are new here, please bear with me. I am really liking the overall mood here, right? But with the vocal arrangement in particular here, you're hearing this like sort of higher vocal way off in the left. My audio's in mono, so you might not hear it that well over there. But if you're listening as well on your own end, if you're listening to it on Spotify, you can hear the this like really out there vocal on the left, and that sounds like someone like singing along to it on a PA. So that might be the overall vibe that Addison's going for here, is just big sort of club energy with like, you know, maybe someone from the crowd singing in type of thing.
And the girl I used to be is still the girl inside of me. The sunshine busting through the seam. Say it, baby, don't lie. Turn to my best friend like I'm on the dream. Say it, baby, don't lie.
Those harmonies are really sick. Not just in the chorus, but also leading into the chorus, just having them rise up like that. That's kind of hard. That's hard to do, especially if you're recording vocal stacks. And I've learned working with a lot of vocalists that some vocalists really do struggle with harmonizing and sort of getting their layers to harmonically stick together. So being able to do that a couple of times in a row, again, who knows how long it took to do this or how many harmony stacks it actually is, but it sounds impressive. I like that hi-hat too. That's really nice. Nice. Maybe I was right, because that does sound like crowd vocals, but we know it's just Addison. At least I think. I like how there's off-tune vocals on purpose just to sound like a bunch of people that are just raging to the song at like a club setting or something like that. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I kind of liked that with such a short song, they really squeezed a lot in there. Both Addison and her producers, they really put a lot into the song for such a small little segment. And yeah, it was enjoyable. I think that, you know, I kind of have a hard time sometimes, like if I'm making a pop song versus a trap song for someone, what kind of hi-hats do I use? It's not like there's like a hidden rule, right? Like there's not like a, oh, this is for dance music and this is for pop music and this is for alt and indie music. Like, no, you can use whatever sounds you want with whatever genre, you know, because we're always reconfiguring the rules of music and how things are supposed to go. But hearing this, that sounded like a really unique hi-hat, and it made me wonder, like, have I been overthinking everything? just kind of a me thing. Let's move on to track 4, Aquamarine. Why you got to do that to me right out the gate? We're not even 2 seconds in, and we're leaning into some, like, crazy sounding synth harp. It's simple. It's probably very simple to make, but it sounds infectious. Let's see how it goes. Oh, that's nice. I like how thin the vocal sounds right there over the synth bed. This is leaning more synth pop. I would say like it's leaning more away from sort of the hyper tendencies and more of the like sort of club influence type stuff that we've had so far. It's leaning more into traditional synth pop, it sounds like, especially with the very sticky synth arps. Oh, I love slow house. That was cool. The way that she stopped and came back with the girl lyric, that was great. There's also these vocal chops I think I'm hearing in the back. Let me know if you guys hear them too, because I might be hearing things at this point. that is such a cool chorus, the way she's just like, dive into me, and it's just so layered. There's so much depth to it. I think this is a vocal style or type of pop music that I didn't really expect to hear on this. It sounds very sophisticated, right? It sounds very well crafted, and it also sounds just a little dated, borrowing from the 80s in a good way. I mean that in all the best ways. The synth bass too is very harmonic. It's very harmonically intact. Sometimes it's really hard to write bass lines, and musicians don't really get a lot of credit for this, and I'm just going to like put it on the record right now. When it comes to writing bass lines, it's very the easiest way, easy mode for bass players, for bass synth, for producers putting bass into songs is just staying with the root note of the chord. So if your chord progression goes C minor, G sharp major, A sharp major, just a typical C minor chord progression, you would keep it, okay, my bass plays C, G, G sharp, and A. Well, what if you want a little more, something a little spicier than that? Okay, you go C, go up to C an octave, down to G, go up to G an octave, down to G sharp, then G sharp up an octave, and so on, right? Just to play it safe, stay on the octaves, make sure there's no dissonance or no weird harmonics that might catch the listener off guard. Well, here, it kind of sounds like it's going up into thirds, going up into fifths, maybe even venturing a little past that. I don't really know. I'd have to have some more time to listen to it. If you're just passively hearing this in the background, you might just hear the pop sort of overtones of the song and just dismiss it. There is a little bit of something happening back there that makes it sound a little bit different, and that would definitely be the bass harmonics. Yeah. There it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I know she's doing something really cool here with her voice, but the way that sort of transitioned into more analog synths before we got into the verse, let's keep it going.
To my hair, kissed by the sun, it's a love affair. Heart of the ocean around my neck. Don't have to say it, you know what's next.
So one thing I want to talk about, and this is actually something I had to deal with today, which is kind of funny. So that little part right there sounds like it was recorded with a condenser mic. Now, for those of you who don't know, there are multiple different kinds of microphones in this world for recording music. I'm going to pop up a list of them right here. The main ones I've worked with are dynamic and condenser mics. So lately I've been having to work with actually a few clients that are using condenser mics, which sometimes are USB, and they're a little more accessible. They're a little easier to access, a little easier to buy. You don't necessarily need an interface to use them sometimes. They're a little easier to work with in terms of recording vocals on the go. They're very sensitive microphones, and they come out with different sounds. So it sounds like to me most of this song was recorded using a dynamic microphone, which is what I'm using right now to talk to you guys. Dynamic microphones kind of have a bit of a fuller sound to it. They're not as sensitive, so it's like you don't collect a lot of like background noise while you're recording with them. So they're great for things like singing and podcasting and all that kind of stuff. Condenser microphones, on the other hand, do give you a little bit of a boost in some frequencies. And I could tell that line right there, I believe, I'm not 100% on it, maybe like 90% on it, was recorded with a condenser mic because of how more boxy it sounded, or more like it had less high frequencies and less like fuller frequencies. Again, it could have been just EQ'd, like it could have been recorded on a dynamic mic and bandpass EQ'd, but it definitely sounded like a condenser mic. Oh, I love that. There are so many sounds happening in that little break. Let's replay it. Hold on. There's like rain sound effects. There's bells. There's little like atmosphere synths going like this. There's the main pluck that I fell in love with at the beginning of this. And then there's something in the left. I can't right now. Let's keep going. That was so cool. So now we got two things to talk about. I was just going to geek out about one thing, but I'm glad I let it play. So the reverb vocals in the back, about like track 2 or 3, under the main track, right? Their background vocals, they reverbed out, right? So what happened is they recorded the whole vocal line, and the producer took that last vocal, give me, or not that one, but the one from the phrase before, and had it reverb out and then cut the reverb so that it was in the reverb space. It had a lot of echo to it, and then the echo just immediately cuts off before the next part. And then I was expecting it to do it again in the next 4 bars, but it didn't do that. Instead, what it did is it tremoloed out and glitched, and they brought the formants down on the auto-tune, so it made it sound deeper and more full. And you know me, we talked about it a lot here. I love formant filters. I love auto-tune. I love bringing out different colors in vocals, and that definitely did it. The little bell at the end, that was great. I really like that. That was it was a very mature sounding song for sure. It had a lot of great elements to it. I'm definitely saving it and adding it to one of my playlists. That just had a very nice nocturnal kind of dance vibe, and I love those very moody house cuts. They just have such a nice vibe to them. We're gonna go into track 5 here, which looks like it's an interlude based on the length. I'm gonna actually let it play into track 6, High Fashion, which also sounds like a familiar song. Maybe I've heard of it but haven't actually listened to it, or maybe that's the one that I listened to for a job. No, it was definitely Diet Pepsi. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. Just ignore me. Let's go into track 5 and 6 here. Why do you got to do this to me? Like, I was just going to have this song just lightly transition into our next one, and we were going to have fun listening to it. But why do you got to have all these crazy sounds that I want to talk about, but I can't? I got to sit here on my hands, just not saying anything, right? So I'm going to challenge myself to do that. Hold up. We're going to re-listen to this because it's so short. We're going to sit here, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm literally just going to let it play, and I'm not going to talk about anything that's happening in this track. Okay, that was such a cool interlude. That reminds me of interludes on other albums. One that comes to mind right away, it's a different genre completely, but it reminds me of the SDP interlude from Travis Scott's Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. That interlude, along with just some other ones that I'm not remembering right now, but I love interludes that just have a really dense sound design. They just have a very playful kind of nature to them. Cashmere Cat is amazing at making songs that have just a very full production bed and just love to fill out those mids in such a nice creative way.
Have you ever dreamt of being seen? Not by someone more like in a magazine. Wanting something more than just a hit.
That side snare is great. You know what, guys? You know what? Now that I'm hearing the chords of this and the way that she's singing against them, I have heard this song before. I don't know why I didn't like it, but this is a really good song. This is actually the main one that I based my beat off of. Diet Pepsi was there more so when we were in the mixing stage, now that I'm remembering it. But no, High Fashion. High Fashion was definitely something that I had to listen to for what I'm talking about. And was High Fashion a single? No, because I'm remembering this beat here. Yeah, no, there was definitely, yeah, I was definitely listening to this. We'll see when the chorus happens. I'll confirm then. But again, the beat, very minimal, very minimal. Sometimes you don't have to start your song out with just this big abrasive energy, right? Sometimes you just have to start it off with very small things, like even the reverb on that main sort of snare, which sounds great, by the way.
Make me feel like this. I know I'm drunk, but I don't need your drugs. I really care,
There it is.
I don't want cheap love. I really get passion.
The way that the bass and the synths are sort of coming up through all that noise, it's reminding me of future bass in a way. So for those of you out there that are Flume fans, future bass is a very special genre to me. It was kind of a very transitional genre between like bass music that was really rough around the edges back in the early 2010s, like dubstep, chill step, drum and bass, even glitch hop. Future bass kind of took the more highlighted pop-centric moments of that and kind of pushed it into trap music and pushed it into hip-hop and bass music and pop. And it's sort of this like neat melodic experimental genre that, in my opinion, is still pretty strong. Like there's still a lot of producers that do it pretty well to this day and are constantly finding ways to experiment with pop-centric sounds in EDM. And this instrumental kind of reminds me of that. So the way it's like levitating upwards with a very sort of slow attack, it's just kind of going whoop, whoop. And I'll pop up what the definition of attack is right here, but it's just kind of coming out of it is a very nice way to smoothen your track instead of just bam, here's a bass note, bam, here's a melody note. Two things here. So remember that portamento thing we were talking about earlier? That's happening on this as well. But the falsettos here are definitely carrying the overall vocal mix. They're definitely adding more highlight and more layer to it, making it sound a little more bright. Overall, I'm liking her aesthetic of keeping the vocals very like sort of whispered and sort of in this neat little reverb space. I almost feel like the same reverb settings are being used on every track here because there's just a specific tonality to them here. That little vocal chop right there, that was nice.
But when it comes to shoes, I'll be I know I'm drunk, but
Two things. The way that those things kind of teased us a little bit, those little vocalizations right here kind of teased us, and then they came back again after being gone for a little bit, and then somehow the beat like glitched us into the chorus again without me even noticing that it was coming. For some reason I was expecting more like a pre-chorus or something, but no, we're back in the chorus. What is happening to that vocal mix? What is that chord progression even? Hold on. Yeah? I have no idea. It sounds cool though. I haven't heard a whole lot of hard auto-tuning on here. I've maybe heard just like traditional mixing tuning happening on here, but now we're getting a sense of what Addison sounds like with hard auto-tuning on this bridge here. whoa, you can't just do that. This is a pop song. You can't do that. No way. The crazy rapid like trap dubstep snares right there, just machine gunning us into the chorus. Like, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. This is pop music. Stay in your lane. You guys probably can't hear it, and if you can, awesome. There's a lot of layers happening back there in the percussion, right? So if you are able to hear it, just kind of listen really carefully with your headphones during that. Try to drown out the vocals, and you'll hear like there's like a shaker thing going, tick, 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 and then like a faster thing under it going, tick, 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 like a really quick rhythmic like tambourine or like additional set of hi-hats. So I do this a lot in my beats for my clients, and it's a very helpful strategy to bulking out your rhythm section in your song, because you'll notice, let's say those things weren't there, it would sound very bare bones, right? It would sound very like, sure, you have the melodic elements, you have the bass, because that percussion section is filled out, it feels bigger than it actually is. Like, just having a couple extra layers just makes everything feel nicer, especially if you know what to layer with what. There's like a layer above the bass. It's like a copy of the bass, and the bit crusher is just going mix knob 100%, mix knob 0%. So we're getting just a very crispy transition coming out of this final chorus. Everything's starting to get a little more distorted, have a little bit more width to it. It's a very common production strategy to just add a bit more energy to your track. Even if you're making pop, it just adds a little bit of something to it. I'm lost for words when it comes to the overall arrangement of this song and just the other songs on this album. It's very spontaneous. It's very quick. There's a lot of like quick punch-ins of different sounds, from vocoder to formant to little tuning things to chorus to I mean, it's like we were talking about, for those of you who are patrons, we were talking about it on JPEG Mafia. There's things like, to me, hip hop albums are a treasure trove of sounds. Pop albums are a treasure trove of like mix techniques. Let's move on to track 7, Summer Forever. I hope I don't look like really weird doing that, but I'll explain why I was just doing that in just a minute here. So the little chime noise, or the little pluck synth happening right there, was happening on the snare, like on the snap, like dun, 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 dun. It was just happening on the downbeats, and it felt very pronounced to me. I instantly caught on to it and wasn't able to pay attention to anything else because of it. So good strategy.
Now I'm wrapped up in your arms, and it feels just like a dream. Friends say I disappear.
Is that a percussion under there that's pitched, or is that a synth? I can't tell.
Blame it on the things we do. Staying up all night long, singing our favorite songs, making out in the car, doing shots at the bar, we're naked at the beach, barefoot on the street, background on my phone, never felt less alone. All my feet stepping out the window, makes it feel like summer forever. And I truly think you're special.
Wow.
This love's one to remember.
Those vocals are so huge. How did they mix that? I almost feel like it's a vocal like standardly mixed. Then they have it going through a huge reverb, and then they compressed the reverb. So what that does is it makes it kind of balance out the volumes. That way the reverb isn't overwhelming. It doesn't cut anything else out in the track, especially during mastering and during mixing. So I feel like the compressor settings are really kind of holding it together right there, both for the vocals volume, just getting her quiet vocals up to the like loudness of the rest of the mix, and then having another compressor sort of watch the levels of the reverb gain right there. That's definitely what's happening there. And overall, this is just a really charming song. I love how like magical it sounds. It's very atmospheric. It's very inspiring is what it is. I definitely want to take some notes into making some more beats like this. So far the drum line and the bass line feel very Diet Pepsi, like they're kind of a similar sort of vibe or a similar sort of thing, but this song in particular has a very dreamy kind of energy to it. It actually feels very Lana Del Rey a little bit, like it's kind of got that big dreamy soundscape to it, but it still keeps things modern with all those glistening synths and the hi-hats, and also just that very intricate percussion underneath it too. I love that lead in too. Now that I'm hearing that with more definition, the dun dun dun, that's very creative, and it's also very cinematic too. It actually leans a little bit into cinematic territory. The song is so relaxing, isn't it? I mean, so was Diet Pepsi and even Aquamarine, but it just feels very like a breath of fresh air. It just feels very like, okay, if we take Charlie XCX, right? Charlie's music felt very like intense, right? This feels very just kind of like I'm just kicking back, I'm just relaxing. It feels very soothing almost.
Want this to last.
Wow. I like that everything went away and it was just her vocal right there before the last chorus, and then just boom. Big expansive reverb, big vibe, just everything glistening across the track. It's very inspiring. I've said that already, but it really does make me want to design some new sounds. That was so cool. I really respect that song for kind of like, I said it was similar to Diet Pepsi, but it actually kind of did things a little bit different. It just made this very big cinematic pop vibe a little bit. Let's move on to track 8, In the Rain. Ooh. This is making my brain tick in all the right places here. We got some like, that's either a vocal or a synth, can't really tell, but I like the way it's being chopped and manipulated. And then that really spontaneous glitchy piece of ear candy right there was great. I think it was a percussion hit. I can't even tell. What are they feeding these producers? Who Oh, it's the same people that did Diet Pepsi with her. Yeah, no. What are they on? Like, this is just incredible music.
Point of view.
that she went up into her falsetto, like mixed voice. It wasn't even falsetto, it was more so mixed, like loud chest. It was just a little bit more air put into it. Felt very like with the other song, very soothing, but also we're picking up the energy going into the next chorus. I like how static the beat is too, not a whole lot of changes. Like it's got ear candy, it's got little like wavy stuff happening in the synth and in the production bed, but it's keeping things casual for now. Let's see how that continues into the chorus or pre-chorus.
Keeping a smile on my face for protection, turning my tears into gold. So I cry only in the rain. So I cry only in the rain.
That is why I saved this song, because of this. Oh, such a nice melody. That little in the pocket moments like that can sometimes make or break a song, and that made it for me. I literally liked it because of that.
Don't wanna be sad, God, it feels like a waste of time. Maybe it's fake, but I don't care. You don't deserve my heart, and guess what? I know it to you.
That percussion from before, that was the ear candy, that was really fast. It was lowered in the verse. It was like boop, 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 below instead of way up here in the high range.
If you're offended, say a prayer. Misunderstood, but I'm not gonna sweat it. Isn't it all for the show? Keeping a smile on my face for protection, turning my tears into gold. So I cry.
I like how big the drums sound here too. Like they get very, very stereo, like just they have to have some sort of splitter on it, or maybe they got like two kicks of the same type going left and right, hard pan. Something is happening with those kicks to make them big. Then you have the piano, very Depeche Mode. You have the piano very much following the melody, not to a T, but enough to be like a variation of it. I'm playing it in a different key because I don't know what the actual key is. That's just what I'm imagining the intervals are. It just sounds so magical. It's just got this nice atmosphere to it. I don't know how she's doing it. Bigger synth layers now. We're in the last chorus and they're just bigger synth layers. This, it takes good ears to add layers to a song, to keep adding them, making them progress very subtly and keeping the same chill atmosphere in the beat. Sometimes when you add new layers to a song, sometimes what it can do is it can make it very abrupt, or it can make things sound too energetic, like too distorted, too big. You have to really pick and choose as a producer. Okay, how do I add another sound to this mix that's already a really good mix? How do I add like a higher synth to it or a louder sound to it without actually upping the energy too much? Because they did a really good job of keeping it tempered a little bit. I think that is my new favorite Addison RAE song. I get that I didn't know a whole lot of her music before we hopped on this album, but that is probably my favorite. That had a very nice atmosphere to it. I could listen to that probably anytime. I'm a sucker for minor keys too. So songs in a minor key that are very like chill, very just kind of laid back. But again, it just had a nice mood to it. It fit what the song was about. It fit the overall mood that she was going for on it. It was just all the right pieces for me. That is definitely my favorite. And when it comes to the non-interlude songs, it looks like it has like the lowest play count. So, I mean, diamond in the rough, right? Let's move on to Fame is a Gun, which I believe was a single off of this album. Let's check it out. Track 9, Fame is a Gun. way that the verses sections rhymed right there, they had a lot of internal rhymes, right? Like it wasn't always like the end of a phrase where a vocal part rhymed. It was also like in the middle of the sentences too.
Hit from the start, it was the only way to mend my broken heart. Don't ask too many questions.
Am I getting Marina vibes from this? Like Marina and the Diamonds? Marina? I think I'm getting a little bit of that on this.
This is my one confession. It never was enough. I always wanted more.
Nice effects.
I always wanted more.
That, my friends, is how you use autotune to your advantage. That is how you curve your voice very nicely down a set of vocals in a very effective way, leading into your next section, which is going to sound like... I could have swore there was a gunshot in the back there underneath that snare. Is there? That. Oh. Stuff like this is made for me. Stuff like this is why you guys wanted me to check this out. The whoop, 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 the little tremolo vocal chops. I see you. This is why this was recommended to me right here, is because I'm a sucker for vocal chops. I'm also a sucker for tremolo. We talk about it in like literally every video because it's just such a great effect.
I'm gonna make it, gonna go down in history. Don't ask too many questions. God gave me the permission.
It stops. I thought it was a synth. I think it was just kick drums on an ARP. Like I think it was just kicks on an ARP just going very fast with 16th notes or even 30 seconds, right? It's just going and it's also got some like tones coming out of it. Maybe it's synth. I have no idea. Like a direct contrast to everything on here. It sounds very different. It's a very different sound for her, and to make it like one of the main singles, it wasn't just like Diet Pepsi 2.0. It was kind of showing a different side of her musicality here. Those backing vocals right there just slowly coming up. Nice touch. Very nice touch. Yeah, hear that? Hear that? They're swirling up with a little bit of tuning and a bandpass filter. Okay, I said a little bit of tuning. It's a hard tuning. It's definitely hard tuning. Very spontaneous synth melody leading us into here. I think it's actually the same notes that play in the middle of the chorus, but they're isolated. They're on a different track just to sort of bring out some of the other effects that the producers might have wanted to play with on there. Definitely is harder compressed because you can hear it's distorted, but it's killing all the peaks before we go into this next part. Very nice. And kind of a bold single to have on here. I think it definitely shows something else that she can do with her music. For sure, it's got more of a spontaneous, more energetic sound to it, while also keeping her voice in a very comfortable place where she's used to singing. After that song, I think I'm just going to have it transition into Life's No Fun Through Clear Waters, which is a interlude, it looks like, till the last part. So let's just let her roll. That right there is an electric piano. I don't know if it's a Yamaha DX7, which is a very iconic like R&B and pop sound. I don't think that's what's playing that. I think it's just an electric piano. It's probably some VST that I've never heard of, but
I know you like when I wear this dress. I feel best when I'm wearing less. I'm so confused. My life moves faster than me. Can't feel the ground beneath my feet.
hold on.
No matter what I try to do in times like these, it's how it has to be.
I'm really digging the vibes on this. Yeah, I almost said it's 90s 2000s, but no, I feel like it's something entirely else. It's something entirely different than that. This song definitely has a very uh more acoustic vibe. I don't even want to say that because everything is electronically processed, but it's got more of like a laid back down tempo trip hop almost kind of vibe. Yeah, it's not really like dancey or clubby or even like glossy pop feel good inspired. It's very actually introspective is the word I'm looking for. Even the lyrics are giving a sense of like, if I do this, will you like me more? If I do this, and just senses of confusion and sort of conflicting viewpoints of someone's self. I feel like that's kind of the running theme in this song so far.
Do you hate me or do you care? Think about all the time I spent thinking lost, but I'm found again. Should I jump in the unknown, or is it better to know how it
Hear that ear candy right there with the glass drops?
Am I too young to be this mad? Am I too old to blame my dad?
Nice.
So
Nice. I'm not gonna get too into it, but that lyric right there was so cool. I think some of us have probably asked questions like that at some point in our lives, and I think it's kind of an interesting take on it, right? Like, are you too old to blame your traumas for certain issues that you might have? I think that's a very interesting way to write that and to implement it in a song like this. But yeah, I'm liking sort of the weird kind of reminds me of so a little bit of the groove from Shadows on Childish Gambino's because the internet, mixed with a little bit of like just Enya and like overall like experimental pop, down tempo, very trip hop because it's got like a very spatial thing to it, but also sounds like it would work on like a trip hop album or a trip hop setting.
my life moves faster than me. Can't feel the ground beneath my feet. No matter what I try to do in times like these, it's how it has to be. It's not my fate in the end. Head out the window.
That was cool. Leading up into a new melody on the bridge, we had like this flute thing. It definitely sounded like a processed flute.
Song on the radio. Head out the
Yeah, that.
window. Let's see how far we'll go. Head out the window.
Also, the vocal arrangement just got huge again, kind of like what we had on Summer Forever. Just a big reverbed multi-harmony chain. Oh yeah. Those synths, they're kind of reminding me of Twigs, yeah? Do you guys get Twigs vibes from this? That song was pure magic. I loved even the outro having those vocals just kind of swell us out, but they were processed differently than what came before. That overall just felt like a really nice jam. Again, very different from the rest of this album. Very introspective, very thoughtful, very emotional compared to the rest of it. But also it wasn't like dramatic emotional, you know? Like it was very calming still. It still had that very calming, relaxing energy to it, but it definitely felt a bit more emotional, but it still had this like jam below it. In a recent video, I can't remember if it was Vince Staples or if it was JPEG, but we were talking about sort of emotional dynamics or sort of having different dualities in your songs. I think I've talked about it in a couple of videos here, but in this song in particular, there is definitely a sort of like the music can almost sound happy. It actually leans a bit more passive, but it could be a little like not sad, right? But since the lyrics are a bit more sad and sort of questioning and have all these like deep sort of meanings and introspective feelings around them, it kind of adds a nice little air to it. It makes it feel bigger than it actually is. Let's move on to the last two songs. We have Life's No Fun Through Clear Waters, which leads us into the last track, Headphones On. I'm just going to let it play. I'm going to let it go into each other. Let's see how this album finishes off. Oh, Format filter, nice. Oh, how nice. Those strings. We're getting a very ethereal quality to this. These transitional tracks, I was even looking at it, I was like, okay, this album's got 2 transitional songs on it. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. They're almost essential. They kind of help rewind the mood in a certain sense. Like they kind of help us sort of reset, right? And sort of find our chi on this album. They kind of help dial in the mood of what's to come in the next song. So definitely well done. Let's move on to track 12, which we're already on. Headphones On.
Put your headphones on. Guess I gotta accept the pain. Need a cigarette to make me feel better. Every good thing comes my way, so I still get dolled up.
2 things. This is very boom bap. It's got a little bit of hip hop, almost a little bit of 2000s, late 90s, 2000s girl group energy to it. Got a knock to it. It's got a bouncy sort of funk with the bass and the little keyboards in there. The melodies are very 2000s R&B. Yeah, definitely feels very 2000s R&B. Feels like a throwback. So I respect it. Let's see where it goes.
Guess I gotta accept the pain. Need a cigarette to make me feel better. Every good thing comes my way, so I put my headphones on. Listen to my favorite song. Soaking up the rain, letting my head down. So I put my headphones on. Come and put your headphones on. Wish my mom and dad could have been in love. Guess some things are meant to last forever.
This has a very jazzy, very like acid jazz trip hop kind of energy to it as well, kind of like Times Like These, which was kind of a nice shift. Honestly, it's like that ethereal pop thing we cover a lot on this channel. I'm enchanted by it right now. Like it's so cool.
I compare my life to the new
Ooh, the organ.
Jealousy's a riptide, it pulls me under.
Please tell me there's a mashup of this and Behind the Mask from the Persona 5 soundtrack, because those 2 songs, I know it's nerdy, I know it's geeky, those 2 songs, if you mess with the speeds and the key enough, because of the organ and because of the jazz and like just like rainy day vibe that this song has, it would just totally work with that.
Can't fix what has already been broken. You just have to surrender to the moment. Guess I gotta accept the pain. Need a cigarette to make me feel better. Every good thing comes my way, so I still get dolled up. Guess I gotta accept the pain. Need a cigarette to make me feel better. Every good thing comes my way, so I put my headphones
keep getting lost in this. I love the way everything just flows together on this song. You have these smooth vocals, the simple melodies, and that organ line back there in particular is just getting me giddy. It sounds like a rainy day. It feels like a rainy day. It works with the lyrics. The overall song just has such a nice carefree bump to it.
You just have to surrender to the moment. Guess I gotta accept the pain. Need a cigarette to make me feel better. Every good thing comes my way, so I still get tired. Guess I gotta accept the pain. Need a cigarette to make me feel better. Every good thing comes my way, so I put my headphones on. Listen to my favorite song.
You know what it is too? I've just been vibing to this thing. Like, so you know what it is? It's the mastering job on this album, and especially on this song, and I would argue also times like these, compress everything so well that it just feels smooth. This is like some of the cleanest mixing I think I've heard in recent pop music. Like, it's so clean. I don't even know how. Like, I feel like the sounds in here are so big, but they're very simple. Like, there's probably only like 20 layers to the song's instrumentation, but the compression job is just really bringing it up and just making it feel very full and just big. And so it's so not dense, but just open. It's got a very open atmospheric sound to everything. That little spiny synth leading us out. Nice. Definitely R&B inspired with that synth. Just saying. So good. Okay, so that, along with In the Rain, are my favorite Addison Rae songs. That was a really enjoyable experience. Thank you guys for recommending that. I am speechless. So when I first heard Diet Pepsi, and I think High Fashion was another one that I had to listen to for the job I was on, now that I've listened to this album in full, I was kind of expecting Addison to just kind of keep that sound, to just, if she were to come out with an album, it would just be like that, but 10, 12, 14 tracks. But instead, we kind of have this nice blend of, okay, what can we do with that sound? What can we do with her sort of interesting, quiet vocal ability? And I was pleasantly surprised. This had a lot of jams to it, and it really showed that, like a lot of the artists that we cover on this channel, Addison has a lot of versatility. She has a lot of things that she can do vocally. And I'm interested to see where she takes it from here, because I believe, from what I was looking, is this her first album? I believe it is. Let me look. Yeah, this is her first like actual like studio album. And then if we go, other than that, she had an EP back in 2023, and ever since then it's been all the singles leading us to this point. This was very enjoyable all the way through. I didn't expect the songs at the end to be so just soothing and kind of show a different side of her, both from a lyric standpoint and from a musical standpoint. But I definitely came away from this with some saves. And I hope you guys enjoyed the listening experience as well. I really wish that I could have probably broken this down a bit more than I did, because I know for some of these songs, there was just so many noises and so many sounds. And I will say this just for the record, with a lot of these videos, you guys, I try to really sit here and dissect as much as I can, but my brain can only process so much. So I really only gravitate to the things that are like really special to me in that moment, or the things that I think are just really prominent. And I came away from this album having a lot of songs that I could listen to just kind of chill out, and other ones that maybe make me feel a little more energetic. Definitely looking forward to what Addison drops next. I think, I mean, In the Rain was just such a good cut. Same with Headphones On. Aquamarine too. That was the very mature one. Gave me a lot of 80s vibes. Even just Diet Pepsi, I think that deserved all the streams it got. I mean, the producers on here. I'm gonna have to do some reading on Luca Closer and Elvira. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I am not saying that person's last name. I'm going to mess it up. I have to look into the producers of this album, see what else they produced, because I think they made Addison a very nice soundscape here. Again, thank you guys so much for your time. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.